Hey guys. Um, Today's video is going to be about, well, dealing with symptoms of depression and, well, learning to cope with it too. Um, I had a bit of what I call a spaz attack a few days ago. Bit like I have panic attacks and anxiety and all that fun stuff. And I've been on such a high the last few days, like producing all these videos and getting the feedback, and it actually made me feel like I was actually like accomplishing something cool. And I was just riding that high, and then I came crashing down. Now, sometimes when I have my big spaz attacks, I can sense it coming. I can just feel it. So I do my thing with the music. But really, it's when it just hits you. There's not much you can do. You've kind of got to ride it out. You've got to ride it out, and you've really got to have somebody in your life, whether it be a friend or a girlfriend or boyfriend, partner, whatever you want to call them. Someone in your life who you know you can reach out to. And because you need to, for me, you can't internalize it, you can't bottle it up, and well, it's unhealthy, of course, to retreat back into yourself. Whereas what I do when I know I'm going to have a turn that's going to be particularly bad, I kind of go into my room and I put some music on, or I read. I do something that, because for me, and I'm not sure if it's the same for other people, but for me, it's the fear I have is the whole, well, if I blow up in public, well, people are going to see that, and they're going to think I'm weird or a freak, or just because I think, as much as I like who I am, and as much as I like appreciate what I can and can't do and everything else, I still want to be accepted by people. I think we all do, subconsciously at least. And well, I'm no different than anybody else. And so, yeah, and because the turn was so bad, started having pretty unhealthy thoughts again. Not suicidal thoughts, but I used to self-harm, whether it be like, it started off with drinking and stuff, but then I discovered the joys of cutting, and I'm terrified I'm going to go back to that. So I went to the doctor and I told her, and they tried to line up and organise a appointment with an actual psychiatrist now, and I'm probably going to give the medication a go, because I've got a lot of stuff still in here that I need to get out, because you'll never recover if you don't accept all the things, because some people's depression's chemical and some people's depression's based on, well, not lifestyle, but in a way it is. Well, because things were rough for me and stuff I will never talk about on this thing, and so a lot of my depression and stuff comes from all the drugs I did when I was younger, all the unhealthy decisions I made, and I had to learn to forgive myself, because when you go through a traumatic experience, whether it be emotional abuse or physical abuse or, God forbid, sexual abuse, any kind of abuse is a terrible burden for the person who's suffering it, particularly when you're in a situation where you can't talk to anybody. And so, and because of my wanting to live, I decided to, well, decided to try and make my life better, because I used to always look upon other people to make my life better. And at the end of the day, I've discovered this, and it's probably one of the greatest truths I've learned in my life, is that if you don't learn to love yourself, then, like, so say you get into a relationship and you're very clingy and you feel like there's something missing and all that sort of thing. When you're on your own again, that hole that you feel is inside you is still there. Whereas I've chosen to, well, try and fill that hole with other things. No, that's something like Quagmire would go giggity, but so for me, I got into my writing, and I really embraced the fact that I'm a gigantic geek, and I love the fact that I am how I am, and well, everything else is kind of fed off that. But for me, well, you got to identify triggers, because everyone has a trigger. Sometimes, mind you, I'll be depressed for absolutely no discernible reason. Sometimes, in the very moment I open my eyes in the morning, I'm just really sad. And, well, you can't change that, really, or at least without, because I think with all the drugs and things I did when I was younger, even up until recently too, there's obviously some sort of chemical imbalance there. But it's also psychological, and it's emotional, and well, everyone's, as I've said on my other videos, everyone's journey is different. And well, I'm trying to share my story, so don't think I'm telling you what to do, because you have to discover that for yourself. What I'm trying to do is, well, say, well, this is my story, and well, because the whole reason for the video is about the stigma, and well, I'm trying to break that. And so when I had my big massive turn the other day, I was considering making a video of me in that condition, but I don't think I'm ready for it. I'm really not. Plus, well, who the hell would want to watch that sort of thing? Really? But this is, well, I'd love for people to be able to see what I'm doing and see how far I've come. But really, this series, as much as it is for you guys, it's for me too. And well, I can't expose myself quite like that yet. I'm not quite ready. So yeah. So the gist of the whole thing for this video anyway is, well, you've got to identify your triggers and do whatever you can to avoid those bloody things. Because I know you guys don't like being depressed and sad and miserable. I sure as hell don't. And if you can't avoid it, you've got to really try and manage it. And that's where the things that make you happy are so important. Like music's my thing. Music's my way of lifting myself up. Or if I really want to, I can drag myself back down again. Because sometimes when you're really sad, you just want to feel worse. Because for me, it makes me feel alive. Because for a long time, I didn't know, I kind of thought that maybe I didn't have any feelings at all. Because I've only been in love once in my whole life, and I very rarely connect with other people. Not in a way that matters to me anyway. And so I went out of my way to experience, to find feelings and pleasure and happiness and all these other ways, and I'm kind of paying for it now. But really, it's because it's your life to live, and I don't think any of us wants to die. But I know for me, when I'm having my suicidal thoughts and stuff, and look, I still have them sometimes, it's not that you want to die, it's just you don't want to hurt anymore. But for me, what keeps me around when because I've attempted suicide before, and I'll discuss that in a later video, was the fact that I love my mother. I love my mum, and I would never want to put her through that. I'd never want to because I felt like I was being selfish, because I was only thinking about me. But how are you not supposed to think about yourself in that sort of situation? Like, how are you supposed to learn to live with what you suffer every day? And look, I rarely I got diagnosed bipolar a long time ago, but I don't have all that many highs. Though what I do enjoy about, and this is weird to say enjoy, but when I have my really horrible down periods, after I write it out, I'm on top of the world again. I noticed myself in the kitchen the other day, in the afternoon after I had my big freak out. I was whistling and dancing. I had my headphones in. I was listening and dancing and long, and all of a sudden I'm like, hang on, I'm not sad anymore. Yes, this is awesome. So really because when you're depressed and you're sad, you feel extraordinarily alone. And no, like, you can't forge a relationship with that sort of feelings. You can't. Because that person becomes a crutch, like the drugs were for me. And so you've really got to learn to be happy with who you are, even though no one's happy being depressed and stuff. But the fact is that you're probably going to be like that forever. So you've really got to just embrace the things about you that you like. Because what I do is I don't think about anything that makes me sad if I can help it. I avoid it. I go out of my way to avoid it. Some would call that denial, but I call that survival. And if that means that I've lost some people's respect or whatever, then that's fine. I don't really care. It's about me, and it's about my survival, and it's about being there for my friends, and it's about my friends being there for me, and it's about, well, learning to forgive yourself for being how you are. And I've probably repeated myself a number of times now, but that's where the planning of the videos should probably come into it, so they're a little more professional. But I've been watching from the feedback I've gotten from people and from some very good friends. When I don't plan anything, when I just turn on the camera and record, which I still do now, even though I keep talking about planning, it feels and comes across as a lot more genuine, because it is. I'm not performing. This is an act. This is me reaching out to other people who go through the same sort of thing as me and saying, well, this is my story. And well, anyone can reach out, but you have to want to. You can't just curl up in a ball and cry and expect someone to save you, because you can't. No one will. Not if you don't tell them there's something wrong. So you have to reach out, and you have to appreciate the people who love you, and you can't make them feel guilty for not being everything you want them to be, because we all have expectations. Because they're not perfect, and we sure as hell aren't either. And that's about it for me for this one. Hopefully the next one will be a bit more structured, but I had something on my mind, and I wanted to talk to you guys about it. Now, what I want to pose to you guys is, well, leave me some comments, or send me a video response, or whatever you feel that you can do, and tell me about your experiences and what works and what things you do to bring yourself out of the darkness, as I call it. What methods that you use to make your life a little easier living with an illness. And hopefully what we can all do together is learn from each other's experiences, because everyone's adventure is different, but maybe we can all glean a little bit of info off each other and, well, help make our lives a little easier, and perhaps even make the world a little bit better too. Because I made these videos primarily because mental illness is this big whole thing, sweep under the carpet and hide it. And depression's probably one of the worst ones of that. And this whole thing is about trying to break that. I'm not trying to change the world. I'm just trying to make my life better. And if I can touch one person, all this will be worth it. And yeah, so I'm going to sign off. Remember, you're never alone. You're never alone. I know I can't be there for you, but if you want to exchange stories, or if you need some advice, or even if you just want to talk, send me a message through YouTube or whatever, and I'll get in contact. And yeah, I'm gonna throw myself out there. and hope this works out. But until then, I shall see you later.